There we go. Darken ship, right? I'm such a dark. Anyway, just I don't know. Reminder for today, I guess. Um, it was an awkward day. It just really was an awkward day. I was off noon yesterday and had all day today, but it was cloudy, it was cold, it was pissy. I didn't want to really be outside, but it wasn't that cold really. I'm wearing thermal underwear under my pants today. That helped a lot. It really did. And then a sweatshirt and a t-shirt. So, all right, fine. I couldn't. I think my energy was low, and I was a little bit down, and it was hard to get started, right? Although I did get some stuff done. I did a lot of video editing. Actually, some video editing. Ran the generator a few times a day. There was just shit for solar. There was no solar at all today. I was pulling like 1 or 2 amps on charging, I think. Maybe I saw 4, I don't remember. But that was bringing me down. It was just like, God, I don't have any power. I got this, I got that. Finally, as a joke to myself, oh, and then it started raining a couple times outside, so I really didn't want to go outside then. So fortunately, I didn't have something all tore apart out there. I was looking at the table saw a few times, and I'm like, I just wanted to take it out and cut something, just, because it's a brand new saw, and just to make sure it works, I guess. I guess part of that was, I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute because I'm cold. Oh, also, oatmeal. Yeah, 8 o'clock at night, let's make some oatmeal, because it's just going to make you feel better. Yeah, it was just a shitty day outside, and it's been cold and windy and blowy. This is perfect Mars analog. It really is. What's it going to be like when you're on Mars and there's a dust storm for the next 3 months and your solar is just in the toilet and nobody thought to bring the nuke along, or got lost in shipping or something like that, and you just don't have any power, and you're cold and you're angry and you just got cabin fever, and there's none of the stuff that you want to do. You just don't want to do it, kind of thing. That's exactly what it's going to be like. Or you're 40 days into a 200-day passage and you have a day like this, and it's just, and then you have a couple maintenance issues and you don't want to deal with it, and then it just ripples on, and you want to lock the robot in the closet, kind of thing, because she keeps telling you to go do something and you don't want to do it. Yeah, exactly like that, right? So, but I mean, there's successes all around me. I just kind of just was slow today, and yet it wasn't too bad. I mean, it wasn't warm. But, I mean, I guess it's kind of a thing where this is nothing like Seattle. It's almost always sunny. You get like something like 300 days of sun a year here. And I got 4 days of clouds in a row and I'm down. It's like, no, I'm solar powered. I need sun. That's why I'm in West Texas. That's why I live in the desert. It's usually sunny. And I think what we're doing is we're getting the remnants of one of the storms that just wiped out the East Coast, and we're getting a little bit of clouds, and I'm bummed, and those guys are freaking just wiped off the face of the planet over there, So kind of just deal with it, Most of my blunders make better stories, Waking up cold, like out here. This is perfect Mars analog. This is why I'm shooting this video right now. This is like the pits of despair. This is what it would be like, only it'd be worse. It's I mean, like internal, power failure. You wake up and everything's dark and you're like fumbling around trying to find your flashlight that was supposed to be in your pocket, kind of thing. And then you're like, okay, nothing's working. What the frick, And then you go from there. It's like, okay, you saw if. I loved what Chris Hadfield was saying. Yeah, this was one of the best videos ever. Chris Hadfield and Andy Weir, the author of The Martian, and Adam Savage were on stage after watching The Martian, right? And between Andy Weir and Chris Hadfield was the discussion of, this is, Chris Hadfield, the astronaut, an actual real astronaut, talking to Andy Weir, the author, who isn't an astronaut but wrote a story about going to Mars. He really was complimentary. He's like, you really got the basic mindset down pretty well. He's like, if you solve enough of these problems, you get to go home alive. If you don't solve this problem, none of the rest of these problems are going to matter because you're dead. I'm like, oh, how cool is that? That you had a real astronaut telling you that. So work on that mindset. And there was something that one of the SR-71 pilots published a book, and it's on my list. I want to go get it. But he was talking about, I don't remember if it was him or if it was another pilot. I don't remember the exact context of the conversation or how he said it, but I think he was talking about somebody else. And the mindset was, in simulation, and this was back in the dark ages, so there was no computer simulation, but the pilot in training was in the cockpit of a simulator, and people on the outside kept throwing problems at him. And they were giving him stuff that could not possibly be solved in real time, right? So you could list a whole list of problems, and he's like, okay. The best pilots were able to degrade gracefully and prioritize based on what they knew and what they could see happening, and let stuff fall off the radar and just focus on the stuff that they needed at that moment. And then they were still aware of these other problems, but these other problems were not really serious enough compared to the big problem. And then they would throw another big problem at them, and then the pilot would have to decide which ones to let go again and degrade gracefully. And that's something that I have trouble with. I'm like, man, if I could tell, the 20-year-old me how to do that. Just that mindset of being able to, okay, yes, there's these problems. I'd be like, I get a hangnail, and all I can think about is a hangnail. I forget about everything else, because that's what bothers me. But if you can ignore that and focus on what you have to do, and then deal with the hangnail later. The hangnail isn't going to kill you unless, you get an infection, but it takes a while. You need to figure out how to do the other stuff and then deal with that later. If I got I've had, I did one time, a slice on my finger, and I had the hardest time casing mail because every time I touched it, it would bother me. And I was like, just, ignore that and focus on what you're doing, Or I burned my finger one time. I had a big blister. Anyway, astronaut mentality, those guys are amazing, It ain't always going to be pretty out here, that's for damn sure. It's hard to be productive. It's hard to be creative when you're cold. That's one thing I'm really looking at. This wasn't what I was dealing with last winter. Although last winter I was in El Paso, and I spent a lot of it in the library. So then I was comfortable again. I had a few hours of like, okay, just be comfortable. And so that's a little different mindset then. But just going forward, and I think, I started to talk about this already. Edit for a while, get up, walk around, go do something else. Yesterday I think it was, I took the garden hose off the roof and a couple little stuff like that. Okay, great. Get up, move around, go do something outside, come back inside. And I think I've been worried about what's it going to be like when I'm out here retired or full-timing out here. Can I be productive? Can I make a living as a full-time YouTuber and cartoon artist? All right. Well, selling it is the hard part still. But if I think I'll be okay. Because I get antsy after a while and I'll go do something. I'm not likely to sit here and watch YouTube videos for 4 hours and run the batteries dead. Eventually I'll get up and do something. So I'll be okay. Everything gonna be okay.